Hello, thank you for joining me. So in this film, which is our second film in our series, putting together a simple model of a meter, an electronic meter. And what I'd like to show you in this film is how to put together the meter cap. So what we have here is a representation of a simple electronic meter of some sort that would be mounted, as I mentioned before, on a backboard or in a control panel in the DIN rail or whatnot in some sort of control environment. It doesn't necessarily represent any particular meter of any kind. It's just a model to show you different modeling features that we haven't covered yet in class, and to kind of give an introduction to an assembly. But before we leave the assembly environment and go ahead and start modeling our meter cap, I'd like to show you a presentation scene I have going on in the background. You'll notice that there is something in the background, and it's called the factory scene. It's a presentation scene that SolidWorks gives you. So if you go over here to your taskbar and click on the apparent scenes and decals, this is a place where you can find that scene. If it isn't apparent, if you're all the way up on the top, you want to make sure you go from appearances down to scenes, and you have the ability to do decals too. We're going to cover all three of these sections yet again in other films. But what we have here is our presentation scene. If you click on presentation scene or studio scenes, you'll see a dialog box or a portion of this dialog manager over here open up, and it gives you the ability to select different scenes. Right now we have factory background, but the way you can incorporate these things, so you can double click on them if you like, or you can drag them out into there, and it puts them into place. So that's our factory background. We're going to double click on that. And if you want to, if you go to your heads up view toolbar and go down to, or go over to your view settings, what I have it on is in perspective, which in a way kind of inflates the background scene. And if you take it off of perspective, you'll get something like this. It takes the model out of perspective. It also kind of blows up and makes clear a little bit more the background scene. So a couple different ways of doing that, a couple different settings you can use to to put the background in there. But one thing to note as we're going to put together a model here, it really has no bearing on our modeling ability. In fact, it might take some memory away from our computer, or maybe some capacity away. So it's probably a good idea, unless you're actually presenting something, want to show something this in perhaps in an industrial environment, you probably don't want to have a scene like this. So let's go ahead and change that back to the basic SolidWorks scene. And I believe that you will find it under basic scenes. And it's the third one down, called 3-point faded. And I think that's probably what we're more used to. If you're all done with that, you can put your tab away. Simply by dragging that back if you like, and then we're all set to go. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to model this from the very beginning. So let's go ahead and open this up. Just so we have an idea on this and how we're going to build this, we're going to start from the very basics. We're going to go to the boss extrude on the bottom, go to the sketch in here and see how this sketch is put together. One thing about this sketch though is I want to make sure that I have all the, and I like to do this, I like to make the primary sketch, the first sketch in each one of my models, kind of drive all the sketches that follow after that. So I have like my one-stop shopping experience, where if I have a feature manager design tree with maybe 100 different elements in here, I try to put all the basic sketch geometry in the very top. And it's also good too when you're putting your sketch geometry together here that you incorporate some of the things that are going to be incorporated into features after that, so you can actually see how they interact. So I already have my tab drawn in here, I already have the point drawn in here for my hole wizard hole, plus I already have the diameter, the outside diameter of the meter cap. So all these things are kind of put in here, and you can see the relationship between them. You'll notice that the tab doesn't go to the very edge of what would be the edge of the cap, but it actually goes inside the cap just a little bit. And the reason for that is because we have a draft on that on the base extrude. And when we extrude that out, we want to make sure that when we put this tab in here, that tab actually connects to the base extrude there. So because it's kind of tapering off at an angle, I'm going to go ahead and embed it into the base itself initially first, to make sure that that tab is always part of the part of the model and doesn't break away from it. So I'm going to go ahead and rebuild this now. I'm going to pick this up in the next film, and I'll show you how to get started on this from the very beginning.